show, guys. Today I'm going to be giving you 8 tips on how to dominate your leagues. I mean dominate. You're not going to just get by. You're not just going to barely win. You're going to absolutely crush your opponents. Now, before we get into this, guys, I need you to drop a like, subscribe, comment, turn on post notifications, all that fun stuff. And let's just get right into it. 8 tips on how to dominate your leagues. All right, guys, the first tip I'm going to give you is that you have to go robust RB. Not zero RB. All the analysts, the sheet, the consensus, all want you to go zero RB. You cannot wait on running backs. There's only a few running backs with minimal committees. Most of them have committees, and our running back is the most scarce position on the field. They're more likely to go down. You gotta have a backup plan for a backup plan. So if you're eyeing, let's say, I don't know, Najee Harris, and Najee Harris, he goes before you, someone takes him. You have to have a backup plan. Don't just panic when you're up. And after the second round, there's like not many running backs available. You can wait on receivers, guys. Trust me. There are a lot of wide receiver ones you can get later in the later rounds. For example, last year, Cooper Kupp was going in the 5th round. Jamar Chase, 6th round. Debo. They had Brandon Ayuk ranked ahead of Debo. I'm like, no, Debo is the one there. And Brandon Ayuk busted. So there was not a lot of RBs left after the second round, guys. So I'm telling you, you have to go robust RB. All right, guys, the second tip I'm going to give you is that you guys have to balance your roster. Now, what I mean by this is do not just draft guys that have a lot of upside and don't only draft players that are proven. You guys have to have a mixture of veterans and young guys, guys that are proven, guys that have upside. Balance your roster with RBs and receivers, but wait on receivers. You got to have like backup plan for a backup plan, like I said earlier. So do not just draft guys like that have like the same like skill. Basically, you guys have to balance with young guys, veterans, proven guys, upside, all that. So number 2, balance your roster. All right, guys, the third tip I'm going to give you is that you have to get yourself an ace QB. What I mean by this is get a QB that is proven that you know is going to put up fantasy points for you. You can wait on QB, though. I'm not saying an ace QB in the 2nd, 3rd, even maybe 4th round. You can wait on QB. There's a lot of depth at QB, guys. Get yourself an ace QB. Get a backup later to cover your injury, your bye week. Get a good backup, though. Remember, Russell Wilson is ace at QB, and you can get him in the 5th or 6th round. And like I mentioned in the previous video, you do not want to get a QB that could potentially bust, that you think might have upside. You have to get yourself an ace QB that is proven already, that you know, like a Russell Wilson, like a Tom Brady, he's ranked behind Trey Lance on the consensus rankings. So guys, wait on QB, but make sure you get an ace QB. You don't want a QB that can bust. The ace QB is the soul of your team. Go robust RB, wait on receivers, get an ace quarterback. So get an ace quarterback, your third tip. All right, guys, the fourth tip I'm going to give for you. This is probably one of the most important tips I can give you. Do not listen to the mainstream and do not follow rankings. Guys, this is just the analysts, all they do is copy and paste last year's finishers and put them on the rankings for this year. For example, Jonathan Taylor, he had a pinnacle year. Now they assume he's going to duplicate that and he's going to finish number 1 again. And Cooper Kupp, pinnacle year, probably the best receiver season all time. They think he's going to duplicate that and finish number 1 this year. Guys, it's not how it works. What goes up must come down. What goes down must come up. That's just how it works. This is just a guideline. You should just use this as looking at ADP, where the average draft position is. So you can just use that as a guideline to go around it. Do not follow the rankings. You have to know the ADP. Just let all the sheep in your drafts while you're the lion. Do not follow these rankings. Let them follow the rankings. That's not how you draft, not how you win your leagues. You have to find the value. And that's what I'm here to do. I'm here to stray away from the sheep. And I'm here to give you the true rankings and the true line mentality. So at number 4, do not listen to mainstream and don't follow rankings. All right, guys, the 5th tip I'm going to give for you is that do not just draft popular names. Now, guys, back a couple years ago, Odell was coming off second round, first round even, and he busted. Do not just draft players if they have a cool name or a popular name. Don't draft if it's just because that's your favorite team. Like for example, I don't know, if you're a Lions fan, which I am, I'm not just going to draft, Jared Goff be my starting quarterback, even a backup. He hasn't done anything this league, and I'm a Lions fan, but just don't draft just because they're your favorite team, popular names. It's just not how you win your leagues, guys. So this is a pretty simple tip. Don't just draft popular. All right, guys, sixth tip I'm going to give for you guys is that you have to avoid recency bias. Now, what does this mean? Take Cooper Kupp, for example. Last year finished number one, had this pinnacle season. Now, you're not just going to draft him number one because of what he did the prior year. That's not how it works. What goes up must come down. Basketball cards are a great example. Let's take last year, Devin Booker went all the way to the finals. Almost won it. His card value went up. Let's take Donovan Mitchell for the Jazz. Got outed in the first round. He went down in card value because he lost. That's not how it works, guys. So you have to avoid recency bias. Use the Cuddy system. Consistency. This is what you have to look for in players. Are they consistent? Do you know what you're going to get out of them? Do they have upside, which is the U? Do they have upside? Can they improve on what they did last year? Cooper Kupp, you're not going to improve on that. A decline is coming. Are they durable? Are they going to stay in your fantasy lineup? So they're going to stay on the field. You got to look at that. Depth. Where are they on the depth chart? Are they number one? Are they the receiver one or the receiver two? You got to look at that. And finally, youth. Are they young? Are they hungry? That's what you got to look for, guys. That's what I mean by avoid recency bias. You got to look at each player and analyze them. Don't just go off of what they did the previous year. Do not listen to the mainstream. Do not listen to the news. Do not listen to the networks. Guys, you got to have that lion mentality. So number 6, avoid recency bias. All right, guys, 7th tip I'm going to give for you is that you guys have to study the depth charts. Now, you have to see where that player is on their depth chart. For example, Javonte Williams. He was behind Melvin Gordon last year, so he's not going to get the full workload. Now that Melvin Gordon is most likely gone this year, he'll probably be gone. Melvin Gordon's going to rise in that number 1 spot. And at number 2, I don't even know who the backup is. So if you don't know who the backup is, that's a good sign that this player is going to boom. So, and you got to look at Justin Jefferson, for example. His rookie year, he absolutely just blew everyone out of the water. He finished with like 1,500 yards. Now, before Justin Jefferson got there, Stephon Diggs was on the Vikings, and he signed with the Bills. So when Justin Jefferson came in, that was like 150 freed up targets just for Justin Jefferson. You could get Justin Jefferson in like the 9th round that year. You got to look at where that player is on their depth chart. So at number 7, you got to study the depth charts. All right, guys. Now the last tip I'm going to give you is what's called the Sneaky 7 strategy. Now you guys are wondering, Griffin, what is the Sneaky 7 strategy? Well, the Sneaky 7 strategy is within the first 7 rounds, you need to get 3 running backs in the first 3 rounds. You got to go robust RB. 3 running backs the first 3 rounds with minimal committees. And then from there, you got to go 2 receivers, a tight end, and then an ace quarterback. Those last, other than the running backs, it doesn't matter the order that they are in. But you got to get an ace QB. Remember that. Don't reach for an ace QB. You can either go 3 receivers or you can go 2 receivers and a tight end, depending if there are good tight ends available. But in the first 7 rounds, you need 3 running backs, 3 receivers or 2 receivers and a tight end, and an ace quarterback. But remember, go robust RB. You can wait on receivers. Get yourself an ace quarterback. Apply all these tips on draft day. I guarantee you'll win on draft day. Leagues are not won on the draft day, but if you use these tips, you'll set yourself up pretty good to win your money leagues. So number 8, use the Sneaky 7. I have it, guys. 8 tips on how to dominate your leagues. You're going to go into the draft. You're going to crush it. You're going to dominate it. You're going to already win your leagues. Use these tips, and I guarantee you'll win it on draft day. Remember, guys, drop a like, leave a comment, subscribe, turn on post notifications, and I'll see you later.